And we are live from Oregon in February 2023, coming up on Valentine's Day. Let me know when you all can hear me and see me and where in the world you're watching from. Welcome to another live stream, Q&A. Hope you brought your questions, your stories, your curiosity, your desire to live a corn-free life. Loud and clear, good to see it. And I've gotten some questions from people on my newsletter, people in the comments, people on my Patreon who wanted me to address these questions in the live stream. So I'll be addressing these as we go along. But as we go, feel free to post your questions, anything you want to talk about. It can be directly related to porn recovery, recovering your sexual function, relationships, addiction recovery, developing willpower, figuring out how to handle and cope with your urges or your emotions, any sort of questions that you want to explore today together. Thanks for joining me, guys. Hi, Amar. I'm going to start with a question from a comment, which is, my biggest issue is to find other sources of joy beyond PMO. Many people choose celibacy for different reasons. I have one. I looked for advice on semen retention groups, but I'll just say I didn't like that. So I'd really appreciate to hear some advice you can share that you have given to men you worked with that choose a similar path. When you're so used to relying on PMO, relying on porn for stimulation, it's very good at stimulating those neurochemicals, stimulating your sexual response system, and getting you excited in more than one way. And when you're so used to that, when you're used to that high level of intensity being available at any time, other things might not compare very favorably. But as you remove that, and your brain is still attuned to that high dose of neurochemical stimulation you get with porn, everything else can seem a bit gray, and people can have issue finding those sources of joy beyond PMO, as you put it. But the good thing is that while anything you find that is going to have a very similar feeling and effect as PMO is not going to be healthy, it's going to be you moving your addiction around. The good news is that the sources of joy you'll discover and you'll rediscover as you recover are richer and fuller and more satisfying in more ways. They might not have the neurochemical punch and the pure level of neurochemical stimulation that porn provides, but what they do have is the ability to make you feel full, satiated, satisfied, and proud. And these joys can be as simple as a conversation with someone that you like. I mean, like a friend or a family member, or it could be someone you're flirting with. It could be just being outside, being in nature, going for a walk, exercising, playing sports. It could be practicing an instrument, could be exploring a new place, could just be driving, could be just listening to a song. It could be all these simple things that maybe you've taken for granted or have lost their appeal to you. You can rediscover that in time. And for some of us, PMO takes up a lot of time. It could be every day. It could be 3 hours a day. That's a lot of time that's going to be free now that you are leaving it behind. And so filling that time with other things rather than just sitting around fighting urges is going to be key. So explore. You don't need to know what you like. You don't need to know what brings you joy. You just need to be willing to try new things. Put yourself in new groups, new classes, go places you haven't been before, do things you haven't done before. Learn something new. And you'll discover for yourself what life can be like and how much joy there really is to be found without PMO. Hey, welcome everybody. I am doing well, Henry. Thanks for asking. Willing says, good to see you, Noah. I was moving along nicely, building a great streak, and had big plans set for the next day, like wake up early, read, oil change, work, emails, etc. But then I had an urge to search Google for triggering keywords that I knew would lead me back to the swamp. I fought this for a couple of months, but ultimately hit search and went on an 8-hour bender. And then I work the next morning, I think you mean to say. So, yeah, that feeling, that sensation of wanting to search can build up over time. And it can feel inevitable, but it's not. That's another lie told to you by the addicted part of yourself, part of your brain. What can really help when you feel that energy building up, feel that itch to go find some content or search for new content, when you feel that building up, what helps most of all is to being able to talk to other people about that and not just keep it inside yourself where it can grow in the darkness until it overtakes you, but shine some light on it. And I think you'll find that much like fungus, when you shine some light and bring in some fresh air and dry everything out, then it takes away the power of that urge to grow and grow until it overtakes you. So being able to have a friend or your romantic partner or a family member that you can talk to about this, and also having accountability more generally in your life and on your devices, having software on your devices like Remojo or Ever Accountable or Accountable to You, something that allows your partners, whoever you choose, to see if you search for sexual content, is going to help take away that consideration of it even being a possibility, especially if those people you choose are people whom you really wouldn't want to let down or want them to see the kind of content that you're looking for. Hello, Noah. How do I overcome memories of porn addiction and erectile dysfunction? And is it better to count days or not during the first 90 days? Thanks. So I see that the memories as like a two-part question. So the memories of the porn that you've seen, right? Very powerful, potent memories, probably, especially, maybe when you first started escalating to more extreme content or the first times you saw porn, those memories might be just burned into your brain. And the reason that happens is because the stronger of a neurochemical reaction we have to a situation, especially adrenaline, the more strongly that memory is implanted into our brain. And it sticks with us so that we know, like if we were doing something dangerous, if we were out in the woods and we encountered a wolf and that was like made our heart pound really hard and we had to run away, we're always going to remember that because it's important for our survival to remember that, hey, wolves are out there in the forest. Either don't go there or be very aware when you're in that environment. And the same thing for something that is pleasurable, like porn, where if it gives you that deep sensation and that powerful stimulation, that's something you're going to remember so that you can act on it or react to it if you encounter it again. And those might not ever go away entirely, but it's fine that they're there. Just because they're there doesn't mean they have to control you or tempt you back. And the more distance, the more time you have away from porn, the less you're reinforcing those images, and the more you're overwriting those images with real experiences. You're dating, you're holding hands, you're kissing, you're being intimate with real people. The more you overwrite those images, the more they fade into the background. And if they do come up in your mind, just recognize that it's just a thought, and just like a bird flying over your head, you don't need to do anything about it. You don't need to shoo it away. It'll just pass along by as long as you don't invite it to stay. And with these sexual dysfunction memories, I've dealt with this, certainly. Even if your body is ready, you've recovered enough that your body is ready for sex, you might have those memories of all the times you tried to have sex and failed because of porn-induced sexual dysfunction. And those memories can be a real buzzkill. They can really take away the joy and the arousal and the relaxation that you'd like to feel in those moments with a partner. And I have an article and video about this on my website called Overcoming Performance Anxiety. Overcoming Sexual Performance Anxiety. That's what it's called. That goes into depth on this and about how to let go of those feelings and how to, especially important, open up to your partner about what you're feeling, both before you get to the bedroom and during. And like I said before, shining light on those feelings and those thoughts is the fastest way to allow them to dissipate and get back to relaxing and enjoying yourself. As for counting days, some people are inspired by each day, like marking off a day on the calendar. It's like, okay, day 8 now. Okay, day 9. All right, day 10. Yeah, double digits. And if that's the case for you, if it's inspiring you and motivating you on, do it. But if it's making you feel like, oh, like just one more day, 90 days is still so far away, oh man, then forget about it. And just, the day you started, and you can figure out how many days you have if you need to, or you want to at some point, but just focus on living your life. So that's highly individual. Do you ever get to a point where you no longer think about porn? Yeah, people definitely do. And that stage might not last permanently. Like you might go weeks or months without thinking about it, but then maybe you see an image or you something triggers a memory and you think about it for a minute, a day, but that doesn't have to last forever either. All these states of mind are temporary. But the farther away you get and the more you recover and the more you build yourself a rich life with rich relationships, yeah, the less you do think about it. Does chasing women in real life during recovery delay the process? Uh, that is a great question. And rather than chasing women, I'll just say dating. Is dating a good idea during the recovery process? And this is a question I get a lot. And it's a question that I was asking myself when I was first recovering. For me, what I did personally was I started recovery when I was just starting to date someone new. And, looking back, I wouldn't change how I did it because she was one of the first people that I told, as you know, if you've read my book or anything like that. And it was a great experience that we could go through together. She helped me a lot. And yeah, I wouldn't have avoided that relationship during my beginning of my recovery. But what I do say to people is that not to be closed off necessarily to the opportunities for dating or relationships, but not to try to seek them out or replace porn with dating or with real sex, especially in those early days. It's better if you're able to just focus on yourself, on your own development, on reaching a place of stability before you really start focusing on dating. But if the perfect opportunity comes along with someone you have chemistry with and you think you could share values and maybe share something really special, would I tell that person to avoid that opportunity just because they're early in their reboot? No, but I would tell them to be open and honest with that person about where they are in their lives and what they're going through so that you can both go into this budding relationship with your eyes wide open. How do I know if I have recovered? What I mean is morning wood the factor we were looking for? So for recovery from PIED, there's several signs you can look for. There's morning wood, yes. Changes from how your morning wood has been early in recovery, changes from how your morning wood was when you were actively using porn. That's all something to look for. Morning wood or nocturnal erections, you wake up in the night and you notice you have a hard erection, or you're up in the morning and you notice you have an erection. That's a good sign. Random erections throughout the day can be a good sign. More attraction and arousal to people in your real life can be a good sign of recovery. And if you are having opportunities to be close to someone you're attracted to, of course, how your body and your brain responds to them and to real touch and real closeness is going to be a strong sign as well. You can also, definitely do this with some caveats and look up my article and video about this called Is Masturbation Healthy or Not? But you can kind of test yourself with masturbation. And of course, this is something to be careful of because you don't want it to become a slippery slope and fall into the chaser effect and chase that high back to porn. But you can try masturbating either to realistic fantasy or to no fantasy at all. And especially if you can maintain a hard erection and reach orgasm, just enjoying the physical sensations, not fantasizing about anything at all, that's a great sign that you are physically at least ready for sex. I'm a long-time rebooter, 141 days into my current streak. I now have no libido and absolutely no desire for porn or real women. I've looked at models to try to kickstart my sex drive, but nothing happened. I want to start dating, but I cannot start without libido. Should I wait? Or look for more non porn sexual content? So you're 141 days into your current streak. That's what, 4.5 months. At that point, it's pretty normal for people to be in a flatline, which it sounds like is what you're experiencing. Just no sensation of libido or sex drive at all, either for images or for real people. And usually I would recommend that people wait at least till the 6 month mark if they're in a flatline before they actively start to try dating, because most of the time flatlines like this, like you describe, do end in their own time and there's nothing you have to do to prod them to end. But sometimes a flatline will kind of seem to go on and on beyond the normal range of time, and in that case I do not recommend still looking at porn substitutes to kickstart your sex drive. Anything that's an image or on a screen, no, I recommend continuing to stay away from those. But you can start to date, or at least start to socialize, start to flirt, start to put yourself in situations more often where you're around real people, close to people that you might be attracted to. And you might find that what you actually need to kickstart your sex drive back into activity is just to be in those situations more often, to start, making out, to start dating, kissing, or even trying sex. And yeah, it's probably intimidating to try to be sexual when you're not feeling your sex drive, but that's where the ability, and it's, I think, a really masculine and admirable and courageous ability to be honest with whoever you're dating, your new partners, about what you're experiencing and going through. And when you are able to just unashamedly talk to someone that you're getting closer to about what you're experiencing right now, you give them the opportunity to be there for you, to support you through that. And some women are going to be excited about that. Actually, they're going to be like, wow, that's so cool that you're giving up porn, and now I feel like every guy uses porn. And that's so interesting. I've never realized that porn could have that effect on people. And then you might, she might see that as a challenge. She might see your flatline as a challenge, and she wants to, be that one to sort of bring you out of it and arouse you. And it might not happen that first night, but as long as you're honest, you're just like, hey, this is where I am. I'm not sure how long this flatline thing is going to last, but I've been told and reassured that it is temporary. Then you might find yourself in a perfect situation with someone you like, and she likes you, and she wants to be there for you and help you recover through that period. So I'm going to get back to one of the other questions that I got before this. Um, how can you rewire without a girlfriend? I'm at college, I work out, I dress well so I can get girls, but it's all casual sex. I went on a date with the girl and then we went out the next day. She came back to mine and we tried to hook up, but as we all know, I couldn't get it up. I think it's PIED, but I'm also struggling with anxiety and depression, and I've never felt present when having sex. I'm always stuck in my head. I've been clean from porn for a year. She was really understanding, but then she lost interest in me, which I can understand. It's so shitty. Yeah, I wasn't a fly on the wall. I don't know exactly what your conversation was like, how much you told her, but like I was just talking about, being able to really confidently and unashamedly talk about what's going on for you is, in my opinion, the best approach, whether it's a casual situation or something that you both feel could become something deeper and more long term. It sounds like you're trying to hook up before you're having this conversation, which might be getting in your way as well. Usually I recommend, after kissing, after there's a spark, but before you actually get to the bedroom is the best time to start these conversations. If you're just hoping that it's going to be different this time and putting a lot of pressure on yourself to perform without letting her in on knowing what's going on with you first, that's a lot of pressure, and that's not an ideal situation for it actually working and becoming successful. And it sounds like you might be intentionally or inadvertently putting yourself in these situations with maybe women who are more interested in just casual, easy sexual pleasure. Maybe the places that you're going to meet these people or the way in which you're approaching these situations is setting yourself up for those more like casual, less connected, less deep, less emotional situations. And maybe what you need right now is something a little more, maybe starting with just focusing on friendship and making friends with more people, more women that you might be attracted to, and seeing, what spark you can discover there and work on and casually get to know each other. Maybe you can, open up to more friends about what you're going through now. And you might find yourself in a situation, if you go down that route, where someone you know as a friend can become something more and become something a little bit more long lasting. They can give you that chance to rewire, and without feeling the pressure that like this is our one chance, this is my one chance to perform, or I'm probably going to lose this opportunity. Hey, it's Alan. I'm trying to get like a month or two without group meetings and see how that works. But what do you think as a good time to leave such a group? Or should we have some kind of support forever? All right, this is a gentleman in my Rebooter support and discussion group. So, for those of you who don't know, that's a group that I run through Patreon and Discord, $40 US per month. You can find a link to learn all about that in the link tree below. And we have several calls each week, group video and audio calls, where we talk about our journeys and we ask and answer questions and we make friends and we make accountability partners. And it's a really great community to be a part of if you're going through this. It helps so much feeling like you're not alone in this. And to answer your question, a lot of people do feel like they want to stay a part of that sort of support community forever, at least if they were trying, at least if they're recovering from addiction. Sometimes people who are not feeling addicted to porn, like they can quit and might have some urges, but they can keep it under control. They can stay porn free, but they're trying to recover from sexual dysfunction. Often once they recover from their sexual dysfunction and they're in a relationship, they're having a great sex life, they don't feel the need to stick around in a support group, which is perfectly fine, move on and just live their lives. But for those who have struggled with relapse throughout years and who feel like, yes, I am a porn addict, being plugged into a community like that and staying vigilant and staying aware and putting yourself around others who can remind you what it was like when you were stuck in relapse and also remind you of everything you have to be grateful for in your porn-free life is a great way to not become complacent and also to give back and help other people accomplish the same things that you've accomplished. So a lot of people do stay long term. But it's up to you. And some people take a break as well and just like I just want to go live my life for a few months and not even think about this and see how that goes. And oftentimes those people find their way back, either because maybe they relapse, but not always. Maybe it's because they just miss having that community and miss having that space where they can feel free to talk about anything that's going on in their lives, especially romantic and sexual and addiction related. I've been on a flat line for 180 days. How much should I wait? Now, we talked about flat lines a little bit earlier in this stream. And when you're on a flat line for 180 days, that's 6 months, that's going to be demoralizing in all likelihood. And after that 6 month period, it's not an exact science, but generally after a 6 month long flatline is where I recommend someone book a call with me so that we can discuss exactly what's going on and I can maybe help pinpoint something you are doing or you're not doing that could be getting in your way or could help you break out of that flatline. And when you are in a flatline for that long, if you're not putting yourself around situations or you're specifically avoiding dating situations because you're in that flat line, like I mentioned earlier, that's when I would suggest becoming more open to dating, even though you're not feeling that yet. A flatline can kind of transition into a sexual hibernation that might last until you poke the bear and make it realize that it's springtime. Hey, there's intimacy, there's sexual opportunity available, and you might not realize that you're actually that sexual energy is still in there waiting to be woken up until you're in a situation that invites it to come out of its cave. Thanks, Noah. I really appreciate that answer. I tried dating in this flatline state before, and the woman could sense I wasn't aroused by her, so I'm a little hesitant to start. Yeah, and you don't just want to leave it up to her sensing it. That's why being having the courage to share what you're going through and really talk about it is important. And that way, if she senses something wrong, and people, especially women, can be very intuitive and might sense that, oh, like I don't think this guy's attracted to me. But if you preempt that by talking about this, and it's not the first thing you talk about, of course, you get to know each other a bit first, maybe you kiss even first, but at some point before you get into bed together, you talk to her about this, and that way she knows, like, okay, it's not that he's not attracted to me, it's that he's going through this thing, and that's really interesting. Okay, I want to know more about this. I want to ask him some questions, and she might end up saying, okay, let's just be friends, or she might end up saying, hmm, this is really intriguing. I've never encountered this before. I'd like to stick around. This guy is interesting, and maybe I can be the one to help him come out of this flatline. Today, I've completed 90 days. I'm married. I couldn't have done it before this time, when I was single. 3 months ago, I couldn't get it up with my wife, and that was shameful after 2 years of marriage. Congratulations, 90 days, brother. That's the first milestone that a lot of people aim for. And there's nothing magical about 90 days. There's nothing about 90 days that makes it so, okay, after 90, all your problems are solved and you'll never have any troubles again. But it's still a great accomplishment. It's worthy of celebrating. So applause to you. And I hope that you've seen some positive changes in that time. It sounds like maybe you did. You didn't say it explicitly, but maybe you're able to have sex again with your partner, which is great. And it should just continue to improve from here with some ups and downs to be expected. Hey, Noah. This is a comment from before, and also I see you're posting it now again. Sorry for being a bit off the topic. I'm currently struggling with severe memory loss. I seem to be forgetting everything I ever learned. I study for my exams, but I don't remember a thing I studied during the exam. So I end up failing. I'm currently at a job. Today my boss asked me about something that I should know at my level, but I just could not think of the answer. Does this also get better with abstinence from porn? Is this signs of brain fog? Thank you for what you do. I'm all the way from Tanzania. It sounds like this brain fog and difficulty remembering things and difficulty focusing is relatively new to you. And of course, several things can cause this, and I would recommend going to get a physical exam and getting a blood test to make sure you're not deficient in something like vitamin B12 that can also cause memory loss and difficulty concentrating. But after covering your bases and making sure that it's not something physical or medical, yes, oftentimes chronic porn users do develop symptoms like this, with difficulty remembering things or difficulty concentrating, difficulty performing and being present at school or at their work. And yes, through recovery, a lot of people do notice big changes and big improvements in this part of their lives. And if you want to tell us a little bit more about how long you've been porn free, what your longest streak has been, I mean, the best way to really know is to undergo this journey yourself and get to that 90-day mark like Amar just did, and notice for yourself how life has changed for you and how your mind and your memory and your focus has changed. Got another question. My porn-free dream is to be able to travel somewhere by myself. I hear some really nice tips in a corn-free podcast, but hey, what safety measures did you take or used to take when traveling? Yeah, traveling, it can be an emotional experience because it disrupts all of your routines. It disrupts your ability to like feel comfortable at home and be in a steady routine where you might have your disciplines in place and your protections in place and your support system in place. A few things I recommend is that if you are traveling, definitely make sure that your devices you're going to be traveling with are safe for you first, using software solutions and accountability solutions, and knowing that your devices that you're going to be with are safe is a big step in the right direction. Also, being part of a support community like the RSD, Rebooter Support and Discussion Group that I run, and so that you can go on meetings no matter where you are in the world. You go online, go on your Discord, and go to a meeting. That's going to keep you grounded as well, and keep you, keep you at least in part inside your routines, your recovery routines, no matter where you are in the world. So that can definitely help as well. Now, travel can be isolating, especially if you're traveling alone, and loneliness can be a big instigator for a lot of people to feel triggered. So having the ability to call people back home and giving yourself permission to take some time off and just like relax in wherever you are, and maybe call home or call people and just do some self-care and not put a lot of pressure on yourself to be constantly on the go or constantly doing new things or going new places can help as well. But traveling can also be fantastic for recovery in many ways, especially when you're young. Traveling alone, exploring the world, can be very exciting. It can keep you engaged with your own life, so you're not thinking about porn or having downtime to think about porn because you're around new people all the time. You're exploring new things, you're going new places, and you're discovering not only the world, but yourself as you do. Let's see. Any more questions today, guys? See if I missed something. I want to reboot ASAP. Good. You should want to reboot ASAP. That desire needs to catalyze you into action. That's the first step. People who are like, yeah, I'm kind of interested in exploring this, that can be a good starting point, as you're learning. But most people who are half in this, just wanting to check it out, they're not going to encounter long-term porn-free success while they're in that state. You need to reach a place where you're like, all right, I need to do something about this. I need to do whatever it takes. And speaking of doing whatever it takes, I'm actually doing a Valentine's Day sale on my courses, My Life Rebooted and Reboot Rewire. So this current sale, you can do it right now through Valentine's Day, Tuesday, February 14th, half off of those online courses that guide you through every single aspect of recovering from porn addiction in the My Life Rebooted course and recovering from sexual dysfunctions in the Reboot Rewire course. Everything that I could think of to put in there in a structured way with videos and lessons and challenges and exercises. It's all there. And you get access to my private Discord server as part of that purchase. And it's really just everything I could give you guys to help you achieve success in this part of your lives. So the coupon code for that is love-50, LOVE-50. And you can put that coupon code in at checkout. Go down to the link tree below and you'll find those courses on my website. I can see your comments, Ruben. Sorry if I'm asking a stupid question. I'm just curious of if gaining the experience could somehow be beneficial. The experience of what? I didn't see if you had a comment before that. I didn't see it, so let me know what experience you're talking about. How do you personally define porn, Noah? Is it any form of artificial sexual stimulation? Well, if I was defining porn for society, I would say porn is depictions of anything that's meant to sexually arouse, and that's its primary purpose. But for people that I work with, for porn addicts or people with PIED, porn is anything you're using for the primary purpose of sexual arousal. So it doesn't need to be made to be porn, but if you're using it in the same way, then it's porn for you. Do you recommend some Viagra and Cialis on the first date after recovering? Many thanks, Noah. So, in most cases, I recommend against pharmaceuticals like Viagra or Cialis. It's a crutch, and in many cases, it might not even help. If it does help, then you're maybe pushing your body further than it's ready to go because it's too early in your recovery, and that can actually delay the real healing as it happens. And it can be a psychological crutch as well. And you might think, okay, instead of doing the hard thing of talking to my partner about this and admitting to her that, hey, like, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how my body's going to respond. It might take a little while before we can have full, successful, satisfying sex. Instead of doing that, you're like, okay, I'm just going to pop a pill and hope for the best, which in most cases, like I said, is a shortcut that's actually going to cheat yourself out of some of the benefits of this recovery. Now, if you have already talked to your partner all about this, you've already gotten to the point where you've had a successful reboot, it feels like your body is ready, but for some reason, you've tried all the techniques and all the practical tips to relax and allow, erections to happen naturally, but it's just not happening for you. Maybe you just can't overcome that anxiety, or you can't, you don't understand how to relate in real sex, and you just want to have some positive sexual experience to build upon. At that point, maybe using Viagra or Cialis to help you gain and maintain that erection and get some starting sexual experience just to build on can be a good idea. But in that case, I wouldn't recommend using it more than 2 or 3 times and then quickly weaning yourself off of it. Yeah, Ruben, your other questions, I didn't see. Maybe they got filtered for some reason. But if you post it again in a different way, I'll definitely answer it. Why are cold showers essential to succeed with NoFap and life in general? I wouldn't necessarily say they're essential, but they can come with a lot of benefits and be useful in NoFap as well. So the just general benefits are it's invigorating. It causes anytime you're doing something hard or painful that's not actually harmful, it's going to come with a counterbalance in your brain of pleasure and excitement. If you're playing sports, it's going to be hard, but when you succeed and when your team wins, you're going to feel great. You're going to feel jubilant. You're going to feel wonderful. And it's kind of the same thing with cold showers. It's hard. It's going to be challenging, but that pain that's not actually harmful afterwards, you get this kind of high of like, oh wow, I feel alive. I conquered that. So it's great for your mood, and that mood boost can last for hours or even the rest of the day. So if you're low on energy or you're depressed or something, a cold shower can snap you out of that. It can also snap you out of other mental states like being fantasizing or being in an urge. And so a cold shower can really benefit that as well. It helps develop willpower, the ability to do something daunting or challenging, but that is good for you. And when you practice cold showers consistently, you're honing your ability to use your willpower. There are, I think, benefits for your skin as well. If you're taking hot showers every day with soap, you're actually drying out your skin and your scalp and your hair. In cold showers, you can get clean, but without washing away all of the natural oils on your body. And it can be, I think, good for your skin, especially if you have acne problems. Maybe trying cold showers instead of hot ones could be something to try. Anything else you guys want to talk about today? Put it in the live chat. Yeah, it's been a good year so far, 2023. And I think the last time I told my audience at large about the other thing that I've been doing, which is the Reboot Academy, was probably in November or October, through my email newsletter. If you're not subscribed to that email newsletter, go down to the link tree below, go to the free PDF link, and you can subscribe to the newsletter, get all the good stuff, all the new news and opportunities to be part of recovery. But back in November, I think I started my kind of higher tier on Patreon of a group coaching meeting once per week that's on Sundays at 9 a.m. Pacific. And that's been really successful so far. We've gone through a lot of material together and grown a lot together and acquired a lot of knowledge together. And to make those different from the other meetings are more of like we each take turns just talking about what we're going through and discussing and supporting each other. These are more focused lessons that we go through together, and then we have challenges to hone our skills and push our growth and our recovery each week. And that's been really great. There are, I think, maybe 1 or 2 spots still available because it's limited size. We're limited to 10 people in that group. So if anyone here is wanting to push themselves a little farther and get the extra support, and it also comes with access to the other calls, of course. So it's 4 calls a week, group calls that you'll be in with me and other guys. There is, I think, 1 or 2 spots available on Patreon right now, and that's $120 a month. Is there a way to book just one personal call, Noah? Yeah, absolutely. I do one-on-one coaching all the time. Go down to the link tree below and you'll find the link to where you can get my personal help. All right. I'm not seeing any more questions, so I think we'll call it at 42 minutes today. It's not such a bad day outside here in Portland, Oregon. So I'm going to go out with my girlfriend and enjoy the great outdoors. And happy to be here with you all. Like I said, join my email newsletter so you can get notified when the next live stream comes around, and hope to see you guys soon. Have a wonderful porn-free weekend, everybody.